Okay, let's unpack this. There's definitely a buzz, a kind of delightful hum around The Naked Gun 2025. And honestly, the way critics are embracing this new comedy, it's pretty fascinating. Makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
What did they get so right?
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here, I think, isn't just the movie itself, it's how it manages, the huge expectations that come with such a beloved, iconic franchise, and how it also kind of subtly comments on, well, modern comedy itself. So our mission for you, the listener, is to pull out the most important nuggets, the key insights from all the sources we've gathered. We really want to help you understand what exactly makes this film feel like such a unique and, frankly, pretty unexpected cultural moment.
Definitely. And before we really dive in, let's tackle that big question lots of people are asking straight away. Is this thing a remake or is it a sequel? Because, there's chatter, confusion even.
Right, it's a fair question.
So just to be crystal clear, it is a legacy sequel and stars Liam Neeson stepping into the pretty big shoes of L.T. Frank Drebin Jr.
Junior, yeah.
Who is the son of Leslie Nielsen's absolutely legendary character from the '88 original. So no, it's not a straight remake, just rehashing old jokes. Not at all. It's a continuation, it updates the world, brings in new characters, but still somehow clearly honors that riotous past.
It's tricky balance.
It really is. And our sources suggest it pulls it off with surprising grace, actually. So let's jump right into how people are reacting. Critics, audiences, and like I said, the reception, especially from critics, has been incredibly warm. Like surprisingly so. They're showering it with praise, often calling it one of the funniest comedies in, well, recent memory.
Which is saying something.
It really is. They specifically highlight how well it revives the original style, that relentless slapstick, combined with that iconic deadpan delivery.
Yeah, bringing that back successfully, not easy.
Not at all.
And a huge chunk of that praise, as our sources are pointing out, lands squarely on Liam Neeson. What's brilliant and what critics have really locked onto is how his whole persona, the gruff, serious action guy. It's just delightfully and constantly undercut by the pure ridiculousness of the physical comedy.
Oh, completely.
I mean, picture it. The I will find you guy, deadpanning through a scene where he's fighting an exploding toilet while keeping that stone-cold, serious face. That contrast, pure gold.
It works so well.
And the script itself gets a lot of credit for just how relentless it is. Gag per minute, pretty much. We're talking rapid-fire wordplay, sometimes so quick you miss it first time. Really detailed sight gags that, make you want to watch it again. Genuinely surreal non-sequiturs like that exploding toilet, or a character suddenly doing an improvised jazz number.
Wait, really? A jazz number?
Yeah. And sharp parody of modern tech culture, too. Sources even mention this villainous billionaire type and this hilariously named gadget, the PLOT device.
Hold on, the PLOT device.
Yeah.
What exactly is that, according to the sources?
Yeah.
That sounds perfectly Naked Gun.
Yes. Okay, so the sources say PLOT stands for Psychologic Omnipresent Tracker. It's basically like a satirical MacGuffin, right?
Yeah.
This piece of future tech that's supposed to manipulate global narratives, public perception, all very meta. But in the film, it mostly just sets up more chaos, more reality-bending gags, and lets the villain do increasingly absurd things.
That's it.
It's that perfect mix of, modern tech satire and classic slapstick fuel. The film just keeps throwing these kinds of details at you. It doesn't let up.
It really sounds like it. And the numbers back it up. Rotten Tomatoes scores hovering in the high 90s. That's kind of insane for a broad comedy these days.
Almost unheard of, yeah.
But here's the interesting part. While critics are almost universally raving, audience feedback is a bit more polarized.
Yeah.
A lot of viewers absolutely love the relentless silliness, the nonstop jokes. They find it super entertaining, a breath of fresh air.
Right, finally, just pure stupid fun.
Exactly. Comments like, finally, a comedy that isn't afraid to just be flat out stupid in the best way. But then you have other audience members, maybe the ones really attached to the originals.
The nostalgia factor.
Yeah, they argue it's nostalgia without the original spontaneity or emotional grounding. That's a direct quote from one source. Others feel it relies too much on old school trickery rather than truly fresh invention. It's a good cover band, but not the real thing.
And this split, this polarization, it's not just about this movie. It really taps into a bigger question, a really relevant one, about what audiences actually expect from legacy sequels and reboots today.
Good point.
Are we looking for something totally new that breaks from the past? Or do we want something faithful, maybe updated, but that still scratches that nostalgia itch? This film, with its sky-high critic score and these mixed audience feelings, really forces that question. It makes you, the listener, maybe examine your own feelings about bringing back these beloved franchises.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me. This came straight from some of your observations highlighted in our source material, which I thought was brilliant. The film's incredibly high level of abstractness. Can you unpack that a bit?
Absolutely. What the sources really dug into is how many plot elements in this new Naked Gun feel. Well, highly abstract, almost dreamlike. The film just dives headfirst into surreal absurdity. Sometimes it's to the point where you genuinely think, wait, what just happened?
Okay.
Like you'll get entire sequences, say a romantic montage at a ski resort, and it suddenly detours into this like genuinely psychotic snowman side plot.
A psychotic snowman? Seriously?
Oh yeah, has nothing to do with the main story. Or kids getting arrested at a lemonade stand for who knows what. It's never really explained, and that's kind of the point. It can feel, as one source really smartly put it, like classic airplane logic crashing into what they called streaming era opacity.
Streaming era opacity. That's a fantastic phrase. What does that mean here?
It's that thing you see sometimes, right? Especially in streaming shows, maybe, where strict plot logic takes a backseat to mood, or just delivering content fast, or committing to the absurd.
Right, okay.
Viewers are sometimes meant to feel a bit disoriented, almost like being in a weird dream. And this film seems to lean right into that question, what just happened? It's part of the intended charm. The film wants you to laugh at the weirdness itself, not necessarily make perfect sense of it all. It's about the gag, the feeling, the totally unexpected swerve.
Wow, a psychotic snowman. That takes commitment to the bit. And tied into that, there's a specific, really intriguing detail that your sources picked up on, something most critics didn't explicitly mention, but it works as this great visual metaphor, the endless coffee bit. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, it's a really sharp, subtle observation from the source material. You basically see Drebin, or sometimes other cops, constantly grabbing fresh cups of coffee. And then almost immediately discarding old ones, sometimes full ones, barely touched as they rush from scene to scene. It's not highlighted, it just happens in the background or as a quick throwaway action. But while it seems tiny, it visually represents the film's whole rhythm. Quick-firing, disposable, reset-driven gags.
That's a fantastic insight. So connecting this to the bigger picture, this subtle coffee thing perfectly sums up the film's comedic style. It visually underlines that frenetic pace, the almost throwaway nature of the jokes. The film isn't dwelling on things.
Exactly right. Each joke, each comedic beat, it exists purely to get a laugh from the unexpected. And then new gags immediately replace the old ones, just like those fresh coffee cups replacing the discarded ones.
Yeah.
There's no lingering, it lands, bam, and the film's already on to the next absurd thing. It shows a kind of confidence, almost an audacity in its comedy. Trusts the audience to just keep up with the sheer volume.
Okay, let's talk performances, because this is obviously a huge part of the conversation. Liam Neeson, his work is consistently described as surprising, even revelatory by a lot of critics. That deep voice, the serious vibe he brings to everything. It becomes comedy gold when he deadpans through these ridiculous scenarios. We're talking maintaining a straight face dealing with, those exploding toilets again.
Can't get away from the toilets.
Apparently not. Or those totally over-the-top tech mogul showdowns.
Yeah.
It's really a masterclass in playing it straight while surrounded by utter chaos.
Absolutely. And we really have to talk about Pamela Anderson as Beth Davenport. She truly emerges as a standout according to multiple sources.
Oh, interesting.
Critics have celebrated her performance, calling it quietly revolutionary, noting how she subtly but really effectively kind of recasts her own image, away from old stereotypes, and delivers a genuinely sharp comedic performance.
Wow.
Her scenes get singled out again and again as highlights, especially apparently this unscripted, improvised jazz number where she just goes for it.
Jazz number again?
Yeah. It's cited as this moment of real comedic spontaneity and charm that maybe people didn't expect, a really delightful surprise for audiences and critics.
Of course, no film gets a free pass. There are always nuances, different takes among critics. Some definitely praised the film for being bold in its support of pure, silly, parody-balancing homage with chaos.
Right.
They really seem to appreciate its commitment to just being funny, without needing some profound message, which feels rare sometimes now.
But on the other side of that coin, some critics did find the emotional core weaker than the originals. They suggested that, the jokes land, but maybe the connection to the characters isn't quite as strong this time around.
Okay, that makes sense.
They noted the action plot, the villain subplot, sometimes felt like they actually stalled the comedy engine a bit, almost got in the way of the pure fun.
Hmm.
And you also had critics who argued the movie just lacks the true anarchic spirit of the 80s originals, feeling maybe it was a bit too constrained by trying to be nostalgic rather than being truly inventive and, pushing boundaries. Which brings us right back to that key question, doesn't it?
Yep.
How do reboots balance respecting the source material with being genuinely original? Can you really innovate if you're constantly looking back at a beloved classic? This film definitely sparks that whole debate.
What's really fascinating, though, and maybe pushes back against some of those critiques,
Yeah.
is how this is playing out online. Specifically, looking at places like Reddit, the reactions seem overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we saw comments like, Liam Neeson's gravelly gravitas proving to be a perfect fit for Frank Drebin's deadpan buffoonery. It's pure comedic genius. That's a direct quote. Or another really common one. Not easy for a comedy to be this well received by critics. Definitely paying attention to this one. It feels like a real comeback for this style of film.
That really highlights, I think, a genuine sense of surprise, maybe even relief, that such a broad, unapologetic comedy is getting this kind of critical love in 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of viewers seem to feel they just haven't seen this kind of straight-up slapstick done with this level of production value and committed performances in years. It suggests there's maybe a real hunger for it out there.
Mm-hmm. It's clear that for many people, whether it's just the pure comedy or the unexpected quality of it all, this film hit a nerve. Hit a sweet spot that audiences and maybe even critics didn't quite realize they were missing. Sometimes, pure, unadulterated silliness is just what's needed.
And bringing it back to that My Own Takes section from the source material, which I found really insightful, it's clear the film really hits its stride when it just fully embraces how absurd it is.
Wow.
Those abstract scenes we talked about, they're actually part of its unique charm. If you go in ready for non-linear, unpredictable silliness, they become a strength, not a weakness. It's about getting on the film's very specific wavelength.
And just to quickly summarize the film's score, as seen in our sources, it gives a nice little snapshot.
Yeah.
Humor, just based on laughs per minute, sheer gag volume. Solid 5 stars.
Okay.
Emotional resonance, storytelling coherence. That gets 3 stars. Which, connects to those critiques about the villain plot maybe dragging a bit.
Right. And fidelity versus innovation, a strong 4 stars, suggesting it does manage to honor the original while still feeling somewhat new. And it's important, I think, to understand this film isn't trying to replace the original trilogy. Not at all. It feels more like a modern tribute act, maybe. Takes the spirit, but updates it, sharper visual effects, faster editing, punchier, more current pop culture jokes. Makes it feel fresh, but still kind of comfortingly familiar.
Exactly. And while, maybe some plot beats lag a little, especially that villain subplot, which felt a bit tacked on to some. For fans of just unapologetically silly spoof comedy, it's a really welcome throwback. A genuinely surprising treat in 2025. It's definitely not for everyone. If you want deep characters or a super tight plot, you might leave confused. But if you're open to its unique brand of humor, if you appreciate that relentless gag assault and Neeson's committed deadpan, it's a very specific, pretty delightful, and honestly incredibly funny experience.
And if we try to connect this to the bigger picture, comedy today, it really does make you wonder. In an age where we see so much complex narrative, meta humor, really nuanced stuff, what does the surprising success of this film, leaning so hard into pure, unapologetic absurdity, what does that tell us about what audiences might actually be craving?
Interesting question.
Does it maybe signal a return to classic, just unadulterated slapstick where the only goal is the laugh? Or is it more a testament to the enduring power of a truly committed deadpan performance? That kind of performance can elevate almost anything, no matter how outlandish, in any era. It's definitely something for you, the listener, to mull over.
That is a great thought to lead you with, and it perfectly wraps up the bigger questions this film raises. So that concludes our deep dive into The Naked Gun 2025. We covered its status as a legacy sequel, that interesting critic versus audience split, those wonderfully weird abstract bits like the endless
Our
coffee.
psychotic snowman.
And the psychotic snowman, can't forget that. And those really standout performances that make it. Now, we genuinely love to hear your thoughts on this film. Got any opinions on Liam Neeson doing comedy? Or maybe a favorite absurd moment from the movie that really stuck with you? Feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd absolutely love to hear what you think. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more reviews and content on the latest movies and dramas. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon. That way you won't miss any new updates from the deep dive. Catch you next time.